I've sold online coaching, info, digital products, whatever you want to call it, for this entire year of 2025. And in this video, I want to share a few of the things that I learned and give you guys some pieces of advice if this is something you want to get into for 2026. Because the online education industry is growing at an insanely rapid rate. It is without a doubt the best way to make money online right now. Whether you are starting your own offer or working on the back end of someone else's offer, being a closer, a setter, or even just managing the automations and all that. There are so many opportunities in this space, and this entire year for me has been full of ups and downs. And there are a few big takeaways that I've had from it that I want to share with you guys if this is something you want to get into. Now, like, for example, I started off this year with a business partner. I now, in what's going to be November of this year, don't have a business partner. So like I said, tons of ups and downs and different things that I've learned. And I want to share like 4 to 5 pieces of advice that I can dive into so you guys can learn a little bit. And like I said, take this for yourself if this is something you want to start. So the first piece of advice, and this is more personal from me because it actually happened, that I'll say is don't get into a 50-50 partnership. Now, what I mean by this is a lot of you guys watching this probably aren't going to have your own offer. If you're, a creator, let's say you have, 50K on IG and you're a fitness coach, maybe you are going to start your own offer, but the majority of you probably want to work on the back end of offers and help with the sales, the marketing, that sort of thing. Don't go into a 50-50 partnership. A 50-50 partnership is going to cause conflicts because no one actually has the upper hand on somebody else. So making decisions within the business are not easy. Now, me and my business partner had a great relationship. We started business like 3 years ago. We ended up going our separate ways towards the beginning of this year. But no bad blood against him, whatever. But there's no need to do that, especially if you're working on the back end of someone's business. You don't need to take 50% of your business. You shouldn't, because at the end of the day, that's not your business. You might have an agency where you're working with multiple clients, right? Where you're working with, a coach here, and you're helping them scale their offers. You don't need to take 50% of that business. You can take a good, 20%. 30%. But at the end of the day, there's no need to be 50-50. And I'm sure you'll probably see this a lot, like don't get into a 50-50 partnership, is most of the time they don't end good. And not to say not ending good where, there's bad blood, because there wasn't with my business partner and myself, but it just kind of slows down the business. Because like, for example, when me and my business partner had the falling out in like April of this year, the business was in a horrible spot. Like from the beginning of this year to like April, like we really didn't make any money. We were dealing with some internal issues, figuring out the direction we wanted to go. And overall, like it just didn't make sense. So that's the first piece of advice. And this might not apply to some of you guys watching this, but it's just something that, like I said, this is stuff that I've learned from my experience doing this. My business partner was more the content creator behind it. So when that left, you got to understand, I had to kind of start fresh here. And that brings me exactly into my next piece of advice is learn how to run ads. Learn how to work in the ads manager. Learn how to use Meta. Learn how to advertise, paid advertise. Because here's the thing, like you guys see these big guys online like TJR or Brez or, these different people with massive organic audiences. And that is great. Like if you're, a creator right now and you have an organic audience, you should launch an offer. You should launch some sort of program teaching your audience something. However, that organic audience is very choppy. You might have periods where you're getting tons of traffic. You might have periods where you're getting like no traffic at all. And that happened with me and my business partner. And it makes for your business to be very inconsistent. Now, the thing with paid traffic is it's almost like an on-off switch. Once you know how to correctly use ads and run the right type of ads to actually hit your audience and bring in results, while it's much harder to capture cold traffic and actually turn them into paid customers, once you learn how to do it, it's quite literally like turning up the volume in your car. When you turn up the volume, you get more output. When you spend more money on ads, you get more output. Now, you're going to burn through some cash in the beginning, trying to learn how to use them and what works best and all that sort of thing. But once you know how to use them, it is very good. Like for example, with my main offer, which is my secret reselling offer, I don't even really do any content. I don't do any content myself. My brother does a little bit of content, but nothing substantial. Everything is cold. So we run everything through ads and we send it to a free Discord. And the free Discord is almost like the content system. It's where we nurture the audience. So that just shows like that's not normal, and that's going to lead me into my next point. But like most people are relying on that organic audience, and while like I said that's great, you also need to be able to scale your business, predict. Basically, you need to be able to predict that it's going to work. Like it can't just be a guessing game. Like, oh, I hope this video blows up. You need to have that on off switch, and that leads me into my next piece of advice is that don't try to copy what other people are doing. And here's the thing. If I tried to just copy what other people are doing, I would have started posting content and tried to build up my offer all the way from scratch. Now, that's what any normal person would think to do. And that's what a lot of people do. If you look at these big guys in the space, that's what they're doing. But I decided to take a different approach and kind of really do a faceless offer. Like everything is just image ads, quick video ads, cold traffic to a free Discord where, I don't need to go and just make a bunch of content. I can provide value in there, but that's it, into turning the people into customers. And that's not normal. Like that's not like, you can't just go copy that funnel from someone. Like I came up with that myself. And that's the biggest piece of advice I'll give you, because if you're watching someone like, someone like Brez, who has a massive audience, if you're trying to copy exactly what he's doing in terms of his funnel, his landing page, his sales process, his marketing process, all of that, it's not going to work for you. Reason being is because you don't have the audience that he has. So you need to try shit on your own, because what works for someone else might not work for you. And that leads me to my next thing is just try shit, but with speed. You can ask 10 different people and 10 different people will tell you 10 different things. But if you just go out and just try stuff, what's the worst that can happen? You try it for a couple weeks, it doesn't work, you try the next thing. That's what I mean by speed as well. Like, for example, when I first started, I wasn't running as many ads, and I was having people in my industry, like people that were resellers and had an audience, I was having them run their traffic to my free Discord. And that worked at the start, but then it was like, this wasn't sustainable. Like I had to have them make new posts. They didn't want to do it. I was paying them for promos. It didn't work. And that's when I really started focusing on ads. And that's when I figured out that did work. I got proof of concept. I did a $20,000 launch. That was my proof of concept, but I never would have gotten there if I didn't just try the first thing, realize it didn't work, try the next thing. And that all goes along with speed. Speed is super key in this industry. And my last piece of advice for you guys is simple is better. You will see all these different agencies and all these different people preaching this different stuff. But at the end of the day, simple is better. I run ads to a free Discord, to book a call, to a high ticket offer. Not even that high ticket. That's what I do. And you'll see like some of the bigger people that you guys might not even watch in the space, like they're just running a simple VSL book a call funnel. Like that's all it is. They're not doing some... The people that are making more money than you aren't running some massive, like crazy complex thing. Like everything is relatively the same, and simple is always better. You don't need to have a million different automations. You simply need to have a good offer. You need to market to that offer. You need to bring those leads in and nurture them in some way, get them to trust you more. And then you need to have a good sales process, whether that's a sales call, a DM close, whatever it may be. It's very simple. Like it's very simple. It's quite literally building trust with a lead, turning them into a customer. And anybody that tries to tell you you need insane amount of automations and, different things, you need to pay for all these different people to help you in the different areas of your business, that's not true. Maybe once you want to scale to like, $500,000, $1 million months, even with that, like simple is better. Focus, if you're launching an offer yourself or if you're helping someone launch an offer, focus on finding a way to get customers, organic traffic, cold traffic, turning those customers into being like actually trusting you and stuff like that. This could be a sales asset. This could be a free Discord. This could be a video sales letter that they're watching. Then have them book a call to talk with the person they want to work with. It could be a closer or it could be you. And then from there, sell them into the program. As easy as that. Now that's obviously high ticket, low ticket might be a little bit different. But overall, simple is better. And keep things simple, especially in the beginning. You don't need to go hire a 20-person team off the jump. You can do everything on your own. I did everything on my own for a long period of time. I just recently hired an appointment setter and a client success manager. So simple is better. Learn ads. Don't get into a 50-50 partnership. And don't try to copy what every single other person is doing, because if you try to do that, you're just going to get scatterbrained. You're not going to be able to think for yourself. So that was just a very baseline pieces of advice that I've taken from this year. I know I didn't go super in depth with like numbers and my entire system and all of that, but I kind of just wanted to throw some pieces of advice at you guys. I know this video is a little bit all over the place. I'll make more videos in terms of like strategies to start for 2026 and, you know, a little bit more in depth about what I do. If you do want to learn that, you can watch the other videos on my page. Like I talk a lot about it, but if you guys took any value from this at all in terms of like learning how to do this, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Comment on the video with any questions you might have. And then I also am going to put in the description, like the video too, but in the description, I'm going to put, I'm starting a newsletter so I can just send out emails to you guys. I love typing emails with just free value and stuff like that. So if you want to, you know, get some advice from me, stuff like that, sign up for that. I'm not selling anything. I'm quite literally just, I like starting my day with writing some emails. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'll have my Instagram in the description as well. So you guys can reach out and ask any questions. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.